Welcome to another episode of the Ride Experience. I am in LA at LACMA, the LA County Museum of Art, and I'm about to introduce my next guest, but let me let you know that it's cold out here and it's windy, so if you have trouble hearing me, I'm also by the bus. So a little bit disclaimer, it's not going to be as quiet as usual, but I'll be sure to mute myself when I'm interviewing Afro. So let me introduce Afro to you. Afro, Amelie Conston, aka Afro Jamurai, is a teenage Wonder Woman. This girl has put activism, roller skating, roller derby, and skate park all into one. She has a work ethic. From the first moment she's put on her roller skate, she's had an amazing work ethic and drive, as well as passion. I can't wait for you to meet her, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring her on. Let me introduce her. Let me get her on. Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yay. Let me know if you have any trouble with the sound.
Okay.
Okay, so I know you as Afro, but can you tell everybody what you prefer to be your name for people to know you as?
Yes, it is. Is my video still working? Here we go.
It slowed
Okay.
down a little bit.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so introduce yourself to everybody.
Oh, I'm Afro Jamurai. I'm not sure what else I should put in my introduction. I've skated flat track, bank track, park skating. So overall, I love skating.
Let's see. Let's talk about how we met. Do you remember the very first day we met? I mean, I remember. You may have been too little.
I
You know,
know it's like I know it's
I
like
only
first
remember you
day.
in my life, and that's it.
Yeah. No, I remember it was Jefferson, and you were teaching me about just like the skate park basics, lines, like skate park etiquette, all that good stuff.
Do you remember how old you were?
Was I 7? Was I 7 all the time? I My memory's so bad.
You were 10 years old.
10. That's right. So
Yeah,
I've been skating a few years at that point. That makes sense, actually. Yeah.
yeah. Now, you were already, by the time I met you, a sponsored skater at 9 years old. Why do you think that? Why do you think that happened for you so young as opposed to other skaters?
Um. Well, when I was little, I loved derby as soon as I started, and I'd go to a lot of tournaments, and I'd talk to a lot of people. I'd go to a lot of like training camps and whatnot, and I ended up meeting a lot of people, especially at tournaments. And I think like I kind of was just able to make connections through there. That and just like people saw me on the track too. So as a derby skater, it's kind of easy to, talk to other skaters and whatnot until you make the right connections.
Okay, cool. So, all right. So the first time that I remember meeting you, all right, I want everybody to know this story. I don't know if you know this story, but they were my first students. Gogo, Afro, and Zoe, all on the first day, and they all came to the skate park early, and I showed up probably like 10 or 15 minutes late. They were already in a little bowl that was not like a drop-in bowl, a tiny little like plate, holding hands, skating around it, and the clouds had parted at that time, and I was like, oh my God, those are my dream students. Look at them. They already got into some kind of transition, and they're holding the hands like ring around the rosy. Yeah, it was amazing. So, yeah, so to me, like having people, young people like you who were already ready and had a drive to do some exciting things was a dream come true for me. So, and the first time we met, we went out for pizza, right? And you guys wouldn't even talk to me. You were so shy that you guys wouldn't even talk to me. I was like, okay, well, hopefully I'll get to become friends with them later on. And I think the only reason why you guys became friends with me is because I could teach you the skate park. Because if I was in Derby, you would have no interest.
No,
You
it's
probably
really so
already,
true.
yeah, no, but you probably already had so many, like, friends from Derby. Like, you just didn't need another one, you know?
No, I think, yeah, no, I was a shy little kid too. We all were. And we were so new to
Yeah,
skate
all
parks and
of you were
whatnot.
shy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy about that experience is that even though I'm from SoCal, Seattle was the place where I kind of cultivated a skate park family, and it started with you three. So, and it grew from there. By the time I left from the internship that I had, because that's how we met, I had an internship up in Seattle. And so I by the time I left, we had almost 20 students, and that was only in a month. That's how quickly it grew, and that's why I wanted to come back. I wanted to come back to Seattle because everybody's connection to skating was so pure, and it's just everybody just loves skating up there. People think SoCal, but my number one city for skate parks is Seattle. Not just for
Oh.
skate parks, but for skate community in general, Seattle. I, I always tell people that. Go to Seattle.
That's sweet.
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about your skating experience. How old were you when you started skating? And how did you get into it? Was it by yourself or with family members?
Um, so I was 7 years old when I started, and I started with my sister, and then my brother, he started reffing when we were little because there wasn't like a lot of programs for boys to skate at that time. Um, but this was before we ended up all going to co-ed team Mob City. But my sister and I started on SDB when I was 7. I'm not sure how old she was. But yeah, it's been doing it for a while.
Okay, so how many years total would you say that you have of skating experience? So
Well,
it was a family thing
yeah,
for
no,
you.
my whole family's been involved with derby, like since the beginning. And it's been like 10, it gets a little iffy around like COVID times. It's been like 10, 11 years though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, um, roller derby 10, 11 years, skate parks. If you started at 10, how many years now would you have?
8.
8 years.
Yeah.
8 years. So, yeah, you have some years on a lot of new people who are coming up. So it's great that we introduce you now to the community when people can learn so much from a skater whose family has come from, derby roots to
Yeah.
skate park, and now with skate activism. What made you start to get into that?
Um, well, I started protesting in 2020 with like the George Floyd protest, and then ever since then, I was really into activism, and I did take a short break after the protests in Seattle throughout 2020 just because it was a lot, but it set me in more of a community direction. So now I do a lot more community-based work. And then
Can
I
I
also,
ask you a
yeah,
question? For you, what's the difference between community-based work and roller derby? Is it roller derby community-based work?
it is. I mean, Everett's been my home since forever, and so like skating on that team, it really did feel like a family, and it was such a great thing to have in Everett. Um, Mob City's home, the skate deck, unfortunately, is closed down now, but it very much so was a community place. Like even if you weren't a part of Derby, you still knew about it. Um, yeah. See, I think we might have lost your sound.
Okay.
There we go.
What's the
Yeah.
difference between that and the kind of activism that you picked up as a result of George Floyd's murder? Like, why did you choose? Why was that thing that triggered you to go out and use your skates for the purpose of activism?
Um. So I was already skating a lot. I guess before I address the second part of that question, I'll address the first part. Um, I'd say the difference might just be like what your passions are behind like the things you do. So with roller derby, um, I guess my passion was kind of more like a competitive but still family sense, and still obviously community. Um, and then with the other community work I do just in Everett now, that's more of like just community people helping community. Um, I don't know. I guess it's more of like a moral thing. Uh, so yeah, that's the difference I'd say with that part. Oh, and I think we lost your sound again.
Yeah,
Here.
sorry. I'm
No
trying to
problem.
turn up the microphone so that way, the when the buses go by, you don't hear me when you're talking.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So okay. Now you, for the very first time ever, decided to make the protests regarding Black Lives Matter and George Floyd. Your reason for using roller skates for activism, right? Uh, how was it just like one day where you were just like, sorry, I can't take it anymore, and you just threw on your skates, or was it like a group of friends who were like, I'm going out there? Was it just, did you go out there by yourself? Like, how did it really start?
Um, I feel like it really started with me. I started street skating around downtown Everett, and that's actually like one of the first places I took my skates while protesting. So it was already somewhere where I was street skating, and it kind of turned into a, well, why not do both? I can kind of protest and, say what I need to say while doing what I love, while skating. And it was very convenient for getting places as well. I will say that.
Were there times where you were afraid for your life while you were out there and on skates? And because people went out there, but they didn't go out there in skates. Or if they did go out there in skates, maybe they went out there with a big crew or with a group, and with other team members or teammates or as with friends. Like, what made you just go and not just be one of the protesters one day, but go day after day after day? And was it scary?
Um, it was scary. There were times protesting where it did feel like very, um, life or death. They're just like scary in that sense. Um, when I was on skates, I'd say that some of the protests I went to on skates was a lot more chill, or if I knew one was gonna be a bit more spicy, I wouldn't necessarily go on skates. Um,
But you
as
still
for
went.
like, oh, what
But
was
you
that?
still went.
Yeah. Um, why not? Like, I love skating. I already do it outside, and that's where all these protests were happening. So combining the two just made sense to me. It was logical. Like, my skates just belonged on my feet anyways. Might as well keep them while I'm out there.
Were you ever arrested?
Not ever arrested, no.
Now, towards the end of the protest, because it started like, you know, kind of suddenly, and it just kept building up and building up and building up, and it never really like came down. It just ended like up here somewhere. So I remember uh, uh, that we were worried about you being out there, and together as a group of people, we came together to buy you a, a bulletproof vest. And the main reason was because of the shooter of the other um, protest. I forgot his name, but that shooter killed a skateboarder. So if he could kill a skateboarder who's out there, imagine what would happen to somebody on roller skates, or he wouldn't see any difference between somebody on skates. Like, oh look, that's a fun person. I'll just let them keep going. So when you went out there, did you feel like you needed that type of protection? Was it getting to that point where it was starting to feel like there could be other people counter protesting, or police officers that were just not happy with what you were doing, that they might use lethal force against you to the point where you needed a roller skater, needed a bulletproof vest, just to be able to say, use their freedom of speech? I think you're muted now.
Oh, here we go. Okay. No, there absolutely has been plenty of times where, like before I had the vest, there were plenty of times where I was like, shoot, that could have been, a possibly bad outcome. And then even after I got the vest, like there were plenty of situations where, we had people counter protesting us, or, if we were out holding signs or anything like that, like we've had people pull out guns at us and whatnot. So it's always been, and you're right, like it's sad that like a roller skater needs to skate around in a bulletproof vest, but there's been countless times where there's been a threat. So I'm happy to have him, grateful.
When you went out there, do you feel like you were actually making a difference? Do you think that it would have helped to have other roller skaters out there in numbers? Or do you think that it was just something personal that you absolutely had to do?
I felt like I was making a difference. Like that was the whole point of everyone being out there. I'd hope that everyone felt like they were making a difference. I mean, there's a specific protest. I think it's called like the rollout or something like that. And it's just like everybody on wheels. We all get to skate and kind of do a protest and come together as a on wheels community. That was probably like one of my favorite protests ever, probably. Um, and like it's really cool to be surrounded by a bunch of people on wheels that have opinions and whatnot. So that felt like a really warm moment. It would be cool to see more people on skates, standing up to things and just working for their community. I think that'd be a really good thing to see.
Seattle was a hot spot for protest, and it was a hot spot for police, and it was a hot spot on the news, and it just kept going and going and going. Um, were you a part of it from the beginning? Even when everything else was going on, and they were saying they were going to move in the National Guard there and take more control over the city. And what was going through your mind?
I'm not gonna lie, like I was there from the beginning, and I do remember specific moments where there's just like a large group of us, and all you hear over like a loudspeaker is like, "We're bringing in the National Guard," like and whatnot, like all that. Yeah, I remember it, and it's just like a really interesting feeling. I remember being like, "Wow, this feels like such a waste of resources." Like it's scary, but also in that moment you're like, this is really silly. Like we're just here saying, don't kill people, and this is like the response we get. It's pretty interesting. It felt like more of a silly moment. But
For the insurrection at the Capitol,
mm.
that they didn't move in the National Guard for that. The cops barely even came out. And what is crazy is that as a roller skater, somebody I was actually there in DC 2 weeks after the insurrection, and I actually stayed in the Airbnb that the people who were planning the insurrection stayed in. It was all by accident, but
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty interesting. And the other thing is that even though roller skating does not really have a political affiliation, think of how many more skaters came out for BLM and then for this insurrection. I did not see one skater out
No.
there. Not one skateboarder, not one roller skater, nobody. Nobody. But they came out for BLM. So, there is something that there's some kind of connection or unspoken rule where, you guys got your side, we got our side, we're over here, you guys are over there. We have skating, you guys have money.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, what are your plans now for skating? Now that for any type of activism, like, how are you going to continue on after such a massive historic event? What are you doing to continue creating the change?
Well, actually, I believe that the work I've been doing in the community is like just one great way to continue making a change. Like the people we service, the people, our neighbors, they're so grateful and they tell us how, they appreciate what we're doing and, how it really puts a change in their lives. And I can only hope that, like, we inspire more people to, I guess, help out their neighbors. So I think that community work is, like, a pretty radical way to actually make change in the world. Um, yeah, as for skating, I'm hoping to be street skating a lot more now. The weather in Washington has been pretty irregular. So it's been hard to
I've seen
really
it. It's
designate
been
days to go out there.
snow. It's been snow up there.
Yeah.
Not even rain, just straight snow.
Well, hailing too. So just all sorts of messes.
Yeah, yeah, I feel for you. Oh man, I'm down here in SoCal now, and I have to wear a jacket.
Yeah. I can hear how windy it is.
Yeah, it's pretty cold. Okay, so what other things are you into besides roller skating and activism?
Um, well, I would say I like to play video games. That's always been something that's kind of fun for me. And I really like making art. I specifically like graffiti and whatnot. So that's something I kind of dabble into and I have the free time. So yeah, those are like two pretty big things for me. I like to journal. I know the people that get it, with journaling, but
That's cool.
yeah,
If you journal one day, you can use all of that for a storyline later on in life.
yeah.
I remember your dad DJ too, and he was teaching you how to DJ when you were like 10 years old. So, do you,
I don't know
do
if he was like
you
I
still
don't think he was a very good DJ, but I do remember having my DJ set when I was
uh
little with my turntable.
really? That's so cute.
Yeah.
Uh, baby, baby Afro. Um, okay, so now for questions from my mother. Let me find them. Uh, I wrote them somewhere. Give me a minute.
No problem.
All right. Uh, wrong one. I'm so official these days. Okay. So tell me one of your best experiences while skating.
um, I, I had to think on this one,
Uh-huh.
but I finally, I could think of something because it's just been like a few years now. But I do remember with Mob City there was a tournament we had, um, and it was just like a great tournament. I think we had 4 games and we won them all. But it was also, we all stayed at the same hotel and we spent like every hour together that weekend. Um, it was just such a great experience. I remember, like, even on Facebook, there's pictures of us all piled up on the same bed in a hotel room. It felt very much so like a family moment. It was in Utah, so it was the Utah tournament, and it's just like one of my favorite experiences ever. It felt like having 20 siblings, all like in the same hotel. Super chaotic, but it was very
That
Mob
sounds
City. I loved
fun.
it.
Yeah, skating is family, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Skating is family. Yeah. Okay, so tell me about an experience that gave you hope in humankind.
Well, there is a
A
certain
skate
thing.
experience, I should be
Right.
specific. A skate experience.
Right. I got you. There is a certain kind of funny partnership that, I don't know, kind of gives me hope. So it's kind of a funny scenario. My best friend, Paige, I guess Toe Jammer is her derby name. We were both on STB Galaxy Girls. And, at practice, we would always go head to head with each other. We would, hit each other the hardest, always train the hardest of each other. And, it really looked like we were trying to kill each other on the track. But, like, as soon as we hit a water break or anything like that, you could just see we were best friends. We'd be hugging, giving each other advice. So it's just, it's hard to think of a specific moment, but it's more so like that kind of interaction. Like, that's so derby for me. Having someone that you can like be super aggressive with and, just really like beat each other up, but still be best friends. Like, that's really the derby experience. And that's like, I don't know. That's really it very well embodies what derby and skating means to me, and so it's kind of like, um, something with skating that makes me happy, like being competitive with your best friend and whatnot.
That's so sweet. Yeah, because that's why I couldn't do derby.
Yeah.
People hitting me illegally, I was like, okay, I can't.
You can't
I
take
can't handle
take it too.
that. No. Yeah,
Every
no, I
derby
won't, I
player can
won't be friends
empathize
with
with
them
that.
afterwards. Yeah. Yeah, so derby means different things to different people, but that's for sure, man. I definitely loved, for me, roller derby, the community aspect of it and working out together, all together, like as a team, doing the same thing and being competitive with the person next to you. So yeah, that was something I definitely experienced from roller derby. Okay, so how about a training regimen? Do you have one, or do you just skate when you can these days?
I mean, as for street skating and park skating, it purely is just kind of, skate when you can or when the weather permits. As for training, I do, I try to hit the gym, but my schedule's not as tight as it was, before when I was still playing derby really consistently. So, yeah, it's pretty, like, loose in the air.
Yeah. Well, okay, if I can say this, because we have one more question to go. It's like watching you grow up from the time you're 10. How old are you now?
I'm 18.
18, so 8 years, yeah. So watching you grow up from that time to becoming a young woman now is has been a real blessing to me. And I always knew that there's a way that we could lose young girls from skating because real life comes in. you have to have a job, and you have to, or people want you to have a family, or it, you know, going to school comes around, and that takes precedence. You know, so skating isn't always real life. And sometimes you have to put that on the back burner in order to discover other things about yourself, you know. So I'm starting to see that with you guys now. But, you know, for the first group of students that I had, but I don't think that it means that you're going to be away from skating for forever. It's just a moment in time where you're developing as a young woman. However, you know what I think we need as a skate community is that we need something that actually bridges a skate relationship from childhood to womanhood, and that's something that we don't have as as a a skate community, you know, is to be able to help young women develop in different fields through skating. And if we had that, Afro, maybe you'd be able to, you know, survive off of skating, pay your bills off of skating. Yeah, the skateboarders have it, that's for sure. You know, they
Yeah.
have skate shops, or they can print shirts or print skateboards or make stickers or design wheels or build skate parks. And we don't have those things. So, you know, one of the whole reasons why I continue coming back to Seattle is for you. For you and for everybody else that's up there like you that still has the passion for skating but may have other things in their life, you know, because if I didn't have the build this kind of relationship and connection with you guys, you know, maybe later on down the road in your late 20s or even 30s, you'll see, oh wow, I still have an opportunity to go and do something with skating now. And it doesn't have to be right now, but it's still there for you because I'm still doing it. And I'm 47 years old, so
Oh,
if
yeah.
I can still do it at this age, you have a long ways to go. So don't
I
feel
hope to.
pressured. Yeah, don't feel pressured into trying to rush and get all your skating in right now. And really quickly to the audience, Afro is one of the most powerful skaters I've ever seen in a bowl. She's phenomenal. She can catch air. Even as a little girl, she was able to catch air. So, Afro, I'm hoping that when I come up there, you can come again to class. And if we need to, we can help pay you for coming to assist us.
Oh, I would love to. I
Yeah.
really need to like get out there and start practicing more, especially now that the weather is getting a bit nicer. But I would
And
love to.
just to keep you in the family, you know, just to keep the family together. That's why, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. What was the last question? The last question was, oh, what do you think about while you're skating?
Oh, well, that's actually an easy one. I really love skating because it actually clears my mind. Like, I have ADHD, and there's just like 1,000 thoughts running through this stuff here, like 24/7. But when I'm skating, especially after you taught me those breathing techniques, which I still use, by the way, yeah. Um, yeah. But no, it really clears my mind. It feels almost more like meditating. Like there's not like so much like craziness going around, but it's just movement and
Okay,
kind of letting energy out.
Afro. I've been teaching you that since you were a little girl, right? like 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
8 years, right? And I there are people out there who I'm like, they're like, Elle, stop telling me to breathe. Oh, what are you gonna tell me? Breathe? What's Elle suggesting to my life? Breathe. What's Elle gonna? Elle, I'm trying to get this trick. Breathe. But it works, right?
It works, yeah.
It works. So you are a witness or a testimony,
Hmm.
so people will know. All right, well, it's getting cold out here in LA and it's getting dark. And before the homeless encampment starts moving in closer this way, I'm going to get going. But, Afro, I want to see you when I come visit Seattle.
Yes, please. We'll make this happen.
Let's do it. I miss you. I love you. And everybody who is not following Afro, can you give them your
Oh yeah, it should just be Afro Jamurai. Or if you're looking for like my main account, that's Skate with Amelie. So yeah.
Okay, send me that one
Okay.
so I can use that one too. Okay. Thank you. And we're going to get this up on YouTube as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll be able to share both the YouTube link and this one as well.
Sweet. Yeah, just get that.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate talking with you. Thank you.
Yes. I love you.
Love you too, Elle.
I miss you.
I miss you. Hopefully we'll be seeing each other.
Yeah. Sooner than later, okay?